All right, coaches, in this instructional video, we're going to go over some scenarios, and it's going to help you for when you start doing one-on-one training. So these types of scenarios we're going to go over, we're going to do kind of a little role playing so you'll be able to see what it would look like and how you would instruct people in the different varieties we're going to have. So we're going to go over outside boxing, we're going to go over inside boxing, we're also going to go over some defensive movements that will help you to be able to do this one-on-one. So follow up, listen to the instruction. And so Kelly's going to be helping us today, and I'm going to actually be going over some role playing on instructing and what you would be able to see on if I wanted to teach her what outside boxing was in comparison to what we've taught inside the gym. So we teach outside boxing, different drills and things that we do on the heavy bags, but it's a little bit different of a scenario when you have it inside of an actual ring where you have to move and you have your targets and the instruction that your coach is calling out. So in these little different clips of scenario you'll see, pay attention to the things that I'm saying and the things that I'm catching to be able to instruct Kelly and teach her what outside boxing is, and then we can work on different drills that will improve her knowledge and skills to be able to control the outside. So this drill, we're going to just talk about the outside. So we're going to start in the ring and just kind of use the outside ropes like we teach in the gym. We want to stay away from our opponent. We want to be able to use the outside diameter of the ring and be able to use the ropes effectively. In boxing, a lot of times we hear we don't want to be in the ropes, we don't want to be in a corner. Well, yes, but we don't want to be in those areas if we don't know how to effectively work on them or away from them to get ourselves off of them. So when I'm training somebody in outside boxing, I'm going to be focusing on those things as well. I'm going to teach them, if we get to the ropes, how am I going to effectively be able to protect myself, work on the ropes, and be able to get myself off of the ropes. And so these are going to be some brief things that we're going to touch on in these scenarios, but teaching them in class, the difference is now we're going to actually be able to apply them, and the member's going to be able to get a visual of exactly what it is we're teaching them on the heavy bag. So we're going to go ahead and start the outside scenario. Okay, so outside boxing is going to be a lot of ones and twos. We're going to be at a distance, so we want to know our range and establish our range right from the get-go. So if I'm starting in the middle of the ring and I'm one, okay, we've got our range established here. One, okay, one, good. Now, what she's doing is you're pressing forward at me, and in an outside stance or an outside capacity, we don't want to actually press forward. We want to keep ourselves away. So our distance is really going to be measured at a standstill unless my opponent is actually going to be the one that's charging at me. So if my opponent actually is initiating movement towards me, then I'm going to be actually providing that jab in a backward motion so that I can keep myself at a distance. Outside boxing is keeping my opponent away from their arm's reach. I don't want them to be able to easily be able to hit me. So in this scenario, you and me, let's take hypothetically, if we were boxing and this was a fair boxing match, I have a very large height advantage over you. So I wouldn't want you to be able to get close enough to me to be able to reach. Hypothetically, if I'm as tall as I am versus you, I should have longer arms than you. So I'm going to use that distance and that leverage, that length, to keep you away from me. So in this capacity, we're going to pretend like I'm actually the shorter fighter because I'm training you to be the outside fighter, and I want you to use that extension and that long reach that you have. This is where we'll start to learn how to paw your jab instead of actually throw it where you're just measuring it and using it as measurement distance. The great thing and advantage about being the taller fighter and having that longer length is the shorter fighter has to reach for you. You can stay up tall and keep at that distance, and you have that further distance away from your opponent to be able to react and move your head out of the way of those punches that they're trying to hit you with. They actually have to work harder to get close enough to you to be able to hit you. So what I want you to do is, as every time that I step forward, okay, I want you to time that with your one, okay? I'm gonna call it one, and I'm gonna move forward. So I want you to time your backward movement at the same time, okay? So I want you stepping back with that one, okay? See how she has that initiation, wants to step in, and this is really the translation from a heavy bag to getting into the ring and doing mitts. From years of training on a heavy bag, that initiation to move forward and really step in with that power has been really embedded into you. So now we're on mitts going to work that out of you. We're going to want you to just immediately take that step back while you throw your jab at the same time. Okay, 1. That was much better. Okay, 1. Okay, 1. Good. Okay, try to just lead with that back foot at the same time you're throwing that jab. 1. Good. Very good. 1. Good. 1. Good. 1. Good. Now, see, we're getting to the ropes. So now this is where I would use some time to be able to effectively talk to her about how to work her way off the ropes. So what you could do here is a quick little side step over to your right, okay? And that's gonna get my forward movement. Now I would continue going because you wanna now, in our classes, we teach side pedaling and we have all sorts of different kinds of drills of side pedaling. This is a perfect scenario of where a side pedal would benefit, where now she's angled herself into a 45-degree into that ropes where my attack is still coming to this direction. Now if Kelly were to side pedal off and use the diameter of the ring, I'm still here and I have no choice but to turn to face her. So there's where outside footwork is very effective. So this is still very much on the outside and covering these different scenarios we're talking about. She's now moving away from my opponent or her opponent, which is attacking forward at her. Okay, what I need to be doing on the inside is I should be cutting her off, but I didn't. I charged straight forward. So her knowledge tells her I need to side pedal away for safety. Remember, the object is to stay on the outside. When I'm training an outside fighter, I'm training them for patience, letting the opponent do most of the work and most of the attacking forward, because I'm going to use my length and leverage to stay on an outside perimeter. I'm not going to let you attack me into a corner or into the ropes. So using that foot movement to get away is what led Kelly to be able to get to safety and for me to have to go back and reset to try to find her again and be able to start working boxing on the inside again. So with that, now we've just side pedaled. So she's used her jab to determine range. She side pedaled. Now I found her again. Now her feet have the opportunity to set. So now I'm coming to find and attack her, and she's now known and established her range while moving throughout the middle of the ring towards the back of the ropes. She used her jab the entire time. So now she knows her range. So now I've turned, I come to find her, and immediately, bang, bang, 1, 2, bang. She's got that ability to have those feet set and throw the power behind that 1, 2. So we would go over that scenario again. Boxing is a repetitive motion. We need to consistently do it. So come on, Kelly, we're gonna go back in the middle of the ring. So again, every time I snap that 1, I want you to be moving backwards with it, okay? 1, good, 1, 1, 1. Okay, where are you getting to? You getting close enough to those ropes? Okay, am I cutting you off? I haven't cut you off yet, so this is your opportunity to do what? Side pedal out, very good. Now I turn, she's got her range, bang, bang. There's a scenario. That's a drill that we just created, teaching how I'm gonna go from the middle of the ring, and I want to establish distance and range against my opponent to be able to work myself to the ropes, side pedal myself out, establish setting my feet, power, balance, and be able to distribute a combination off of all of that, keeping my opponent away at the same time. So this is a great drill to just start off with, and it really kind of organically happened. This was not something that I had predetermined. We started off with one thing, I noticed something that can be more effective, and so we worked on it, and it led into this drill for us to be able to work on a few more times. So come on, Kelly, let's work on it again. We're starting in the middle of the ring. I'm the inside boxer, wanting to establish my distance and get inside. And so Kelly needs to use her leverage, her length, and her distance with her 1 to establish the range that we need. So she's moving back with her 1 every time. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. There she goes. See, she's already starting to get into the habit of knowing how many times it's going to take before she gets to those ropes, and she's getting ready to be able to side pedal off and get herself to safety. So now what we do is we take it to a little different of an angle. Let's try it from right here where you're going dead straight back. Instead of going at an angle back to the ropes, you're going to go directly straight back. So each time you're going 1, 1, 1, boom. See, she had about 3 steps, and then she's out. Okay, and then she's there. Now I've got her where I want her. But in boxing, we have a glove that is the width of this, okay? It's that wide. That's the most movements that we have to do when it comes to defense, when it comes to movement, when it comes to getting off or creating angles. We only need to move this much. So if I've now just backed her straight into the ropes, now this is where in my head I'm the inside fighter. Okay, I've got you where I want you. But no, I'm teaching you how to defend yourself off the ropes to stay on the outside. So I immediately come in. Kelly's gonna take a short, quick step to the right as I go for my attack, my initial attack. Short, quick step to the right. See, now I'm going straight forward. I can't adjust or change my angle while my momentum's taking me this direction. So now she's safe. She's got a lot of options to do at this point, okay? There's a lot of options to do. I'm initially gonna come forward and I'm gonna turn. 2, bang. I'm turning into a punch that she's doing. Now, we're also working on the outside and learning different techniques and drills on the outside. So what I want you to do is I want you to hit that 2, and then I want you to 1-1 yourself away from me, okay? I want you to be gone. I don't want you to be close to me. So you're starting back in the middle again. So you've gotten back to the ropes, and I come in, you take that short step over to the right, 2, 1-1 yourself out. And now she's clear. Now, why do you think I had her go with a 1-1? Well, I'm teaching her to be on the outside, and I'm teaching my boxers for safety. If she throws this 2, so come on back here. She's taking that short step to the right. She throws the 2. Let's say that 2 didn't hit me. Okay, we've always got to keep these scenarios in our head that our punches do not land every time we throw them. So let's say she threw that 2 and I made her miss. Now I'm coming back with a counter, but she automatically and instinctively goes 1-1, bang, bang to get away. That's going to stop me from being able to come back with a shot, with a counter, or it's going to force me to go back into a defensive motion, so she's still going to be safe. So what we teach is you don't want to just back away from your opponent. If you've got someone who's on the inside and they've gotten you there, and now I'm on the inside, if Kelly were to just take a step away without throwing any punches, that's not stopping me at all from wanting to come back and hit her while she's trying to get away from me. So these are drills that also coincide with inside and outside. If I'm teaching somebody how to box on the outside, and that's what we've just focused on, then I can also flip it and relate it to the inside. They need to know how to box on the inside to be able to protect themselves for when the inside fighter comes in on them. So now, let's take that scenario and we'll change it up and do it a little different. So I've gotten her to the inside, and now she didn't get away. Now she's up in her guard. So this is where we get an opportunity as coaches to really show what a guarded position is. So now we've got our guarded position. She's got her thumbs up on her temples, her hands are open, she's nice and secure all in this area so that she can protect for any kind of punches that I'm going to be coming for her body or up into her head. And so now she can still visibly see me. She's got vision on all of the things that I want to do. So say I wanted to come in and throw this shot. She's got a guard, okay? The guard is something that when I'm talking to people about it, I'm telling them that they need to develop the trust with it. And when you're on the inside and you have a developed trust with your guard, then what the biggest thing I teach all of my outside fighters to do is they need to relax. They need to control their adrenaline and calm down. And on mitt scenarios, it's a little harder to do that. So when you guys advance into our sparring training segment and you get to the sparring sessions, then those are where this will make a little bit more sense. But on mitts, you still want to relay that information, and you want them to understand that they need to learn how to be relaxed and controlled. When you have somebody that has just come up on you and you're in your guard and you've got this person trying to bang on you, there's not a lot of control. You get a little bit of this adrenaline rush and all of this excitement happens and you get a little nervous and you don't exactly know what to do when starting out. So in mitt training, it's a good thing to kind of ease them into what to expect. So she's in her guard, and you're going to have a few punches that are going to come at you, and you're going to have to relax and defend against them and know how you can counter off of those. So this is where we get into a lot of different scenarios. Now I have the opportunity as a coach to talk about inside defensive movements, also counter punching, and also the ability to get from the inside and work yourself way back to the outside. So I've got a lot of opportunity in this scenario here to be able to teach. So say I came in here and I'm inside and I threw my 3 to your body, okay? And so right now, I want to teach Kelly that what she did is she just opened herself up by rotating her body that direction and made my punch a lot easier to land. So instead, what I want her to do is to catch that punch is I want her to turn slightly into as she's coming. So now I get to teach her defense. This is great, just like this. So now she's caught on my elbow. She can still see. She has vision and peripheral vision through her guard. So now let's say you came up with a 4 and threw that uppercut with that right hand. Boom, right off of that counter. Okay, and these are visible things that I've taught her guard that she can see. She can see through there. She saw me come through with this body shot that she caught, and then she countered immediately and came right up with that uppercut. And what I like to do, just for fun and sometimes, and it also helps members to kind of see in the relation of what actually would have happened there, is I will make that motion with my head. I came here, boom, she caught, she threw the 4, boom, and she just came up and caught. And that's pretty much what you would see on a counter punch like that. Now, from there, you've got all sorts of different things. Does she want to stay inside? Does she want to throw another punch after that? Even if that punch had countered off and landed and my head came back like this, she's got a hook that she can come, boom, right back through and finish off with that, and then use that and utilize that to get to the outside. So now we lead into, oh, okay, I'm inside, how do I get outside? Here's a great way. We just led into that by using that 3. This is called a check hook. I'm coming in, I'm inside. It doesn't matter really where she lands this or how she's using it. She's using the 3 specifically 100% as leverage to be able to pivot herself out, back out, away from the ropes. So even if she were to come around and grab my shoulder, and she grabs and then pivots out away from it, she's using that 3 as leverage, and it's what's called a check hook, is checking that hook out off those ropes. So these are all sorts of different really good, fun drills that you can utilize with your members. So in this one, what we're gonna do is kind of capture all of that. We're gonna kind of just go through a scenario. Kelly and I are gonna do a little bit of mitts, and we're just gonna show you some things of how we're gonna be able to work at a little bit faster of a pace. So when you start off with your members and you're working on different kinds of techniques and drills like that, you can start to build that pace up with them. Learn that rhythm, learn that timing, and then really start to be able to get some fun mitts going on. So in the last part of this video, we're just gonna take a couple minutes and we're just gonna show you some mitt drills and how I do things with individuals that I have them in the ring. 1, 2. Outside. 1, 1. 1, 1. 1, 2. 2. 2. 2, rock 2. Rock to their face away from you. 2 rock. 1. 1, 2. 1, 1. 1, 1. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 2. 2. 2, 2. 2 slip 2. 1, 1. 1 roll. 3. 2. 2 roll. 2. 1, 1. 1, 2. 1, 1, 2 to the bottom. Boom. 2. 2, 2. 2 rock 2. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2 step back 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 3, 1, 3. Give me that 3. Find that 3. Give me that, like, extend it. 1, 3. It's so tough. It's good, but I want you to be able to find my mitt. 1, 3, 1, 3. Yeah, better. 1, 3. Good. 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 2. 1, 1. 8. 8. 8. 8, 3. 8, 3. 8, 3, roll 3. 2. 2, 2. 1, 1. 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. 2. 2 slip. 2 slip, 2, 2. 1, 1. 1, 1. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 2. 1. 1. 1. 2. 1. 2. 2. 1, 2.